Welcome back, everybody. It's that time. We're talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Season 3 has started, and we have all the good stuff. And, of course, I brought with me my number one.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Yeah, no, we're good. We're excited. We're going to talk about this episode. Two-part series premiere.
I know. They do that to us.
Season 3. Season premiere, I guess,
yeah.
And got up at 3 in the morning. So, and trust me, I'm feeling it. And because I haven't had to get up at 3 in the morning in a while.
We haven't had to do that for a long time.
No, all the normal shows have been good about doing regular times for things, and now all of a sudden it's like back to this schedule.
And I need everybody to realize I've been doing end of season reviews and talks with you, but this is Strange New Worlds. So this is, how some people are like, oh, the original series TNG's mine, or Next Generation's mine, and no, Strange New Worlds is mine.
No, for sure.
So.
What I'm really excited for though is these 2 episodes give us a big glimpse of what's to come, and we already know that there's only going to be 5 seasons. But I tell you what, this 3rd season starts with a bang.
Really strong.
We're going to get into it right now. What's up, my know-it-alls? Okay, so we're looking at episodes 1 and 2 of season 3.
Yay!
Super yay, no, for sure. Starting with part 2 from last season.
Yes.
Hegemony part 2. For those of you playing at home, last season the Gorn had made their move. They had attacked an outpost. Batali was there with her ship. Pike had to swoop in and try to help, and the away team and the colonists have all been taken by the Gorn, and Pike's barreling in because he's got to figure out what to do, and Una's like,
"Orders, Captain."
And literally, we start right there.
Yep. And
Thing picks up.
You said that the way they did it, like.
And now, the conclusion.
Now the conclusion, yeah. And you're like, what?
Yeah, super Star Trek-y. That's always been the vernacular of the...
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. Of the 2-parter when it comes to Star Trek, so I'm super excited. Well, some of the things up front that really kind of were interesting that I noticed. Out the gate, they're trying to... Pike is having them, like, give him ideas and thoughts and whatever else. Mm-hmm. It's not exactly the way... Like, Kirk almost never, unless things were crazy, whatever, like, he very rarely... whenever he checked in with Spock or anybody else or Scotty, it was always because the script needed him to do something like that. So for this, Pike is like asking for everybody's help, and everyone's throwing technical things at him.
Diversionary tactics.
We'll do boxed in.
Prevent the nacelles. Create a cloud.
We need to be able to see.
Jam their comms so they can't coordinate attacks.
That's it. That's the one.
It's the closest thing to technobabble that I think I've seen from this era.
Okay.
So one of the things that Salty Trekker and I have pointed out in the past, Star Trek technobabble didn't really start till Next Generation, where the engineers would start saying gobbledygook stuff of whatever, and seriously, it's all very highly technical sounding.
Right.
TOS never did that. So Strange New Worlds being such a flag bearer for TOS or that era, it's interesting hearing everybody throwing ideas out. But obviously, I like the way Pike's like, that one. That's the good idea. Let's do that.
And I like the way they all participated.
Yes.
Nobody hesitated in giving their opinion on what should be done.
Then you go to the ship, and on the ship, the enemy ship, the Gorn ship. Mm-hmm. What's her face is the first one to wake up, La'an.
La'an, yeah.
And she wakes up, and La'an's obviously, she's still...
She got some PTSD.
Yeah. No, she's from the trauma from when she was younger.
Right, with her brother.
And so she wakes up, and she immediately... I did love the fact she's like, first rule, wake up the doctor. Like, medical first.
Right, medical first.
Right on, bro. And the one thing... So last season, we got to actually see an episode where we find out Mbenga was in the Klingon War. And I'm like, well, clearly he's the right man to have in a situation like this.
Of course.
Not only is he a medic, he also has experience with taking out fools.
Taking out fools and...
No, for real.
Saving people on the field.
Yes. No, and it was, again, I liked that.
They were being digested.
Oh my gosh, I know. How crazy was that?
And it's funny because I didn't put 2 and 2 together at first when it came to...
Same.
what is Erica's last name on the ship?
Ortega.
Thank you. I always remember her first name, never her last name.
She comes out of the thing missing a thumb.
Missing part of her hand, and she's like, my hand, it wasn't like this before. And then I noticed that some of them have these red spots on their faces, and
that's
it
what I
was
said.
like, oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Well, and I said immediately, I don't remember them looking this banged up.
No.
So yeah, they're being digested. It was crazy. And so, but meanwhile, they have to leave everybody. So they figure out technical ways to track them and whatever else. And they go back, and Admiral April is like, don't cause trouble. And he's like, what am I going to do? Because he makes
a very interesting statement.
He makes a very good point when he says, because April's like,
we have an obligation to our member worlds, billions of lives. To rush into a fight right now puts all of them at risk. We can't do it. We're still recovering from the Klingon War.
And Pike's like,
You are absolutely right, and the Gorn sense our weakness. We are prey.
And April's like, all right, well, officially you got to do this, but like, figure out how to punch him in the face. I don't know.
And Pike's like, and unofficially.
Yeah, totally. No, for real. So they have to do that. They have to go figure out what they're going to do. And so he's supposed to be patrolling the border, but really he's going in to rescue his people and rescue his lady. Mm-hmm. And man, what a cool. So they do this really neat thing, because remember, everybody forgets. Technically, we don't see the Gorn much until when Kirk faces them in Arena or whatever, which is an episode in the original series. At least that type. So they've already established that the Gorn have multiple kinds of Gorn, which I thought was really good. And so they're constantly skirting continuity in this, because they're like, for instance, they find out that the Gorn, there's this binary star thing, and the Gorn sort of send their ships to the middle of it, and then they ride the gravity wave, which essentially throws them into a type of warp. Mm-hmm. But it also, because gravity plays games, their homeworld is nearby, but we can't see it, which really plays into the fact that we don't know much about what's going on. Mm-hmm. I do love the fact that the girls, Una and Uhura, figure out that the whole species of the Gorn are instigated by the sun flare activity
for hibernation,
right?
And when it's time to move and stuff.
Like some animals who hibernate versus who get super active, and they're like, according to our calculations, they're about to get real riled up, and this is gonna be bad. So it's just
they're gonna get real riled up.
Yeah. No, but I love, and then the solution is actually pretty, I say, elegant, which is Pike's like, all right, well, we need to go make ourselves a flare. Let's talk about Scotty.
Company Scott at your service.
Yes, that
Scotty
was awesome.
Dope.
That was so cool. He
so
obviously,
excited.
and you had said that they have to find a way to get Scotty in, and we were introduced to him last season at the end. And I know very little about Scotty, but what I do know about Scotty is because of what you told me.
Sure.
Which is kind of making me love the character altogether.
Man.
So, and you always said he worked so good under pressure because he's so brilliant.
Yes.
And to find out that he was a student of, I can't remember her name. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Yes.
And now when she came in, he's like, I can't do this. Or when he's like, I can't do this. And she's like, yeah, you can. It's not a big deal. And then Pike walks in and he tries to not so much like make excuses, but he's like, trying to tell him like the real situation. And she jumps in and says, oh no, we got it under control.
Totally. When do you need it?
When do you need it? Yesterday.
She's like, okay, we'll have it ready by then. And when she walked out, I was immediate, didn't I? I paused it. I was like, she's going to show him how to be the Scotty we know.
Yeah.
Now, there's a whole bunch of new trick, old trick people that are going to get pissed off about this. Because their mentality is going to be like, why does everybody understand Scotty's this and this? Scotty's brilliant. Nobody's saying Scotty's not brilliant. But each of them, Spock, Uhura, now Scotty, they're not who they are going to be eventually. They're on the road to becoming those characters. So that means clearly the people had to have influenced them. They didn't all come out prodigies already fully formed as the characters we know. They eventually, like, to me, this is the epitome of what a prequel is supposed to do. Not.
I like the way they said that.
Not have Han Solo discover where he gets his gun from, but the fact is, you get Scotty, who he's not that guy yet.
Right.
So having Pelia sort of show him, hey, we make things happen because the captain asks us how to we figure it out. Mm-hmm. And there's this other scene later where they try to figure out some stuff, how to make the ship do the flare thing.
Right.
And what I really liked was you see them talking it through.
Yes.
And it's funny, I jokingly say this about myself all the time. I will hem-haw and complain when someone asks me to do something that is against my initial reaction. But then, and I always warn people, I'm gonna complain, I'm gonna bitch, I'm gonna moan. But as soon as I'm done, I'm like, give me 5 minutes after. And I'm like, but if I had to do that stupid thing, how would I do it? And then I start kind of thinking it through. Mm-hmm. They start talking it out.
Captain, look, sure, using the ship would allow us to modulate the exact radiation and EM signals we'd emit, but you're basically talking about turning the ship into an artificial star. That's nearly impossible.
Not impossible.
What?
And as he's explaining it, he's working it out.
Right.
So he's like, well, if we did this, well, we'd have to do that. And even Pike is watching with a smile, like he knows what's going down. Mm-hmm. And Helia comes in and sort of pushes him a little more. And you see Scotty he's always brilliant. She didn't make him brilliant. She's making him learn how to think and be a leader.
On his feet.
Correct.
Especially when they were trying to cloak themselves so they would read him as a Gorn ship. She comes running in, the Gorn, it's too late, we got time. And he's done.
The Gorn! They're here! Oh, Scotty!
No.
We're all gonna die!
It's working! Tell the bridge to patch it to the chutes.
Bridge to science lab. What's the status down there? We're about to enter Gorn space.
Oh, you minx.
Yeah, because he was failing just before she walked in.
Exactly.
See, she realized that you got to start just trusting yourself, man. Mm-hmm. Stop second guessing. Stop thinking it through. Just trust yourself. And as soon as he did it right. And she was like, "Yeah, let's go." I love that. Yeah. And then the next episode, he's on the ship. He's actually a member of the crew. He's a lieutenant, engineering lieutenant.
Yep. So let's talk about Spock and. I love calling everybody by their first name, Christine.
No, for sure. So, because Chapel's trying to figure out how to fix Batali, and
yes,
and because Batali, remember, she was infected with the Gorn eggs, and so they're trying to figure out what to do, and there's all kinds of stuff happening. And Pike's like, "Well, I'm going to send you some help," and he sends Spock.
Right.
And Spock has to.
And what did you and I do? Uh-oh.
Yeah, we're like, okay, and Spock's like, he's got to put it all aside and realize he's here to help this. And he does, and he does a really good job. Mm-hmm. And they come up with a really interesting solution because everything they're going to do could potentially kill her.
Right.
So they're like...
At 100%.
Yep. And Spock's like, well, what if we stop trying to do surgery on her, and what if we instead address the Gorn inside her?
Right.
Perhaps we were looking at this from the wrong perspective. Instead of operating on Batel, what if we treated the Gorn inside of her? We know they emerged to feed. What if we feed them?
Satiate them to keep them from coming out.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like... That is so stinking smart.
So she still has now. I'm not trying to jump ahead, but 3 months later, she still has.
No, they absorb.
They become her body complete. Okay, that's what I thought I heard. Okay,
yeah. There's just, but because of the absorption process, there were various infections that came about.
Got it. That's what that was.
The Illurian DNA that they used as the fix is that's what they're chilling. They're like, okay, we got to let this. It's working on the infections. Right. So they're in essence, anyway, we're going to get to that episode. And meanwhile, on the other ship, the away team has to...
We need to discuss what happened on the mothership
that feeds
everything. So after they get like busted out of their little digestive tract.
Yes.
Lon finds out, like she figures out like where another ship is, so she can go back to the Enterprise. The codes of, I forgot what it was, but
the transporter codes.
Thank you, transporter codes. And
because they can't bring all 100 colonists with them.
No.
But what they can do is they can say, okay, Enterprise, here's the coordinates where you can transport them from. We got to they have to get on a little ship they're going to steal and get out.
Right, exactly.
So I'm like, because she's determined, she being La'an, to save them.
Right.
All, which I'm like, good for you.
Well, and then I know you didn't like this. I'm sure there's going to be some people they're going to agree with my husband here. You had said, "Oh, that's convenient. There's a gun there," and I'm like, "Wait a minute." I'm like, for us that aren't storytellers.
Okay. So what they did was while they're looking around, they realize they're being digested, and what happens is Sam Kirk goes. He looks around and this is the part that was convenient. He looks around and goes, "Well, this looks like a digestive X thing or whatever. Basically a thing that poops you out with the stuff that the system can't digest." Mm-hmm. And then he pulls out a gun, ready to go.
Hey, this looks like an evacuation pile. Maybe whatever the ship can't process, it expels.
Weapons from a crap pile.
And I was like, okay, that's the part I thought was convenient. The fact that he noticed it or that it exists and it does make sense that whatever they can't digest. But I think it's super convenient that, look, all the weapons are just hanging around because they couldn't digest them.
But that was the funny thing is I said to you, I go, I'm not a storyteller like you. So for me, it was just like, oh my gosh, that totally makes sense. I didn't even think twice about it or anything. It was just like, duh, why wouldn't? Their clothes, their guns, their comm badges, all of it would be in this, I guess, poop pile.
Sure. Well, whatever their system excretes.
Whatever,
it's like a slime thing, whatever Hollywood can afford to call. And but yeah. They finally get on the ship. They get attacked by some Gorn. They fight their way to the ship.
Talk about that.
Ortega gets kebabbed. And
like not just kebab, like the Gorn's hand went into her and up. I swear it must have missed every. I don't know, man. She flew a ship with this whole gash and up like her rib cage and everything.
No,
look at me. I'm trying to be like all rib cagey and everything. Mm-hmm. They finally get to the ship, and I loved this part. She's the only one that can fly it, and she knows that. She's like, get me in this pilot's chair. Get me in the pilot's seat.
Put me in the pilot's seat.
Forget about it.
I can fly it. It has to be me.
She's right. We need to go.
She had such fight in her. I was like,
she really did. No, she really did. It was amazing. I loved the fact that as they're going, and even because didn't I tell you? I was like, oh my God, they're killing her. She's done. She's off the show.
I know. We sat. And I'm like this the whole time
because she's like at one point when they're on the way to the thing and Benga's taking her out of the pilot seat and she's like, I'm Ortega's. I fly this ship, and I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna kill her.
America, Ortega's. I fly the ship.
I did really good.
I swear, I thought that, and I'm like, how did we not know she was leaving the show?
Well,
normally that stuff leaks that they're leaving the series.
That's true, but at the same time, it's like we know we can't keep everybody.
Well, and what did I say? Eventually, we have to get Sulu, who's the real pilot. Eventually, you get Sulu, you get Chekhov, you get people like that down the road. And I'm like, well, maybe they're going to bring some of them in but then I also realized not everybody was already on the Enterprise when Kirk showed up. Kirk actually brought some folks with him or hired people when.
See, I didn't know that.
Well, no, I don't either. But what I'm saying is, it's foolish for us to think everybody's lined up and then Pike's just like, all right, now that you got the perfect crew, peace out.
Yeah, no.
I feel like there's a world in which you get to, and they've. Again, we can talk about that afterwards, because there's a world in which they are talking about what happens after this.
Yeah.
My understanding from recently, they're going full blown to get to the end of this. It's 5 seasons, which represent the 5 years of their first 5-year mission.
Okay.
And Pike is either going to go on his thing, have his accident, and Kirk's going to get the Enterprise. Or Pike's going to get promoted, and eventually Kirk will. But we're supposed to end with Kirk taking command.
That's pretty cool.
And that's even if it's like the last episode, and he sits down at the very end before the credits, it will end as Kirk's ship. And they're talking about after that continuing in a new version or a new form. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a great. Why not?
There's so many stories to tell that the original series didn't get.
I'd love to see that. But I mean, what would you call that show? Boldly Going? You know what I mean? Like, what could you call this one? Strange New Worlds?
Paramount because it's awesome. I mean, go do it. That's a great title.
But but that's so they make it though. They make it. They manage to put the Gorn back to sleep. Pike even says, he goes, "Did we just?"
I can't help wondering if we didn't just create a problem for someone else to solve later.
Right.
Which I'm like, really?
You laid that groundwork.
Really? Exposition dump, man?
You did say something to me which made sense, and you said because this was an unofficial mission, that's why Kirk only finally knew about them for the first time.
Well, Kirk's never
TOS.
As far as I know, Kirk has never seen one.
Until
TOS, when we see him in Arena. I don't believe, I got to look it up. I don't think in previous Gorn attacks, Kirk was on the ship. I don't think that Paul Wesley's Lieutenant Kirk was on any ship that had the Gorn, which means aside from the name, he wouldn't have any clue what one looks like.
Right.
Now, they might review or they might talk. And again, we've already established they have different casts of Gorn.
Yeah.
So you have like the smaller ones that we first originally saw in season 1. Then we have these bigger, more like elite attack ones. And chances are there could even be some form of, I think the ones that Kirk fights later on even though it's latex rubber suit, some version of that. It would be considered the like command full, the high top.
The higher.
And they're the most humanoid looking.
With the lizard face.
Right, with the lizard face. And that'll be, so that's interesting. But yeah, I would I liked the episode.
I did too.
Do you want to give it a rating? Or you want to wait till they give them both a rating together?
I think I want to give it a rating now.
Okay. Yeah. But then there you go. Now you know. And if knowing is half the battle, you have to be know it all yourself. What is your score for this episode?
8.5.
Really?
Yes, okay. I really enjoyed it. Because there were, I mean, to be perfectly honest, there were a couple times where he pointed out to me that I was sitting there like this, and he's like, "Look at you, you're all, tense. You're all tense. You're really in this." I'm like, I need to know what happens. Okay, so shush back there. I really liked the episode. It was satisfying. It answered my questions, raised a couple more, but still, I really liked it. And I think maybe I missed Strange New Worlds, so I
did too.
Yeah,
I missed Strange New Worlds. I went much higher than you. I gave this episode a 10.
You didn't.
It was a wonderful and perfect for me Star Trek second episode of a two-parter. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. It dropped us right back in. I was super excited for it, and it resolved everything in a way that made sense and was exciting.
See, and I was very conservative with it because I was like, maybe I need to give it a 9.
I would normally play that game, except this is Star Trek. This is my core.
So we're not
fandom.
supposed to play that game.
No,
I just want to know.
Your ratings are yours.
Okay, so I want to change it then because I want to give it a 9.5 and not an 8.5.
Sure.
Only because I know there's a 10 up the road, and I save my 10s.
I normally would too, but I'm so excited for this. I would normally do that, and I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying that's why I gave it that. I gave this episode. For me, I was happy. It fed everything I needed out of a premiere, and we were good to go.
Okay.
So that brings us to the second episode.
Yes, the second episode, which we needed the breath of fresh air. Let's be for real.
No, for real.
The nail biting was over with. And I really needed to know about Ortega's, if she had met her demise.
No, well, and then she up and shows up.
Yeah.
So this episode was called Wedding Bell Blues.
Yep.
Which I did not catch. You had to actually tell me that episode when I was like, wait, what? Because all of a sudden, midway through the episode, it becomes a wedding episode. Yeah. Very much this is a tonal 180. Like it goes from being this hard, grizzled war episodes to suddenly being this. I would argue the Trekkiest of TOS style Trek episodes.
Really?
Ever. Because this is what Star Trek fans signed up for.
Okay.
This is not, and by Star Trek fans I mean the original TOS fans. Okay, because the original series, yes, it had episodes like Hegemony, but they were more like, serious and stuff like that. But then it had goofball episodes where you had, speaking of which, Trelane, who is a sort of they've always been questioned about whether or not Trelane was a Q or not, and he comes from a very specific set of episodes. And the one thing they do, and I do believe it was supposed to be Trelane, by the way, in this episode. But the one thing they do very early on is when he shows up, because the whole thing's okay. Well, hang on. The whole thing shows up. It's 3 months later.
Yeah, we have to remember that.
It's 3 months later. So this to me is actually getting us into what season 3 is going to be.
Right.
Because we're now clear of any of the baggage of season 2. And so season 3, what's her face? Chapel's been on her 3-month thing.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be returning to the Enterprise. They're celebrating Federation Day, which is a big giant holiday, and she shows up.
Christine.
This is Dr. Corby, your fellowship director.
With a guest.
With a boyfriend guest.
That's right. Dr. Corby.
And poor Spock.
Bro.
He's so ready. We see him in Leon dancing, and he has gestures of romantic love that he's going to give to Chapel when he sees her, and she shows up with a guest. And he doesn't need his own quarters.
Welcome aboard, Dr. Corby. Will you be needing quarters?
No. I'm taken care of.
He is here to attend the centennial celebration with me.
With you.
Dr. Corby is my date.
No. Hell no! No!
No! God, please, no!
No, he doesn't.
And that was the getaway.
Every line.
Yes.
This was the most cringy in terms of like, I don't like discomfort, especially not on this level. And because Spock has to play it straight, but he's like clearly like shouting inside, I was like, oh, dude.
You feel so bad for him. So bad for him.
It was so bad. So they end up having this because the big ball that Pike wants to throw is a day or two, and so they have this sort of a get together with friends at the lounge, and it was during this that we get our first glimpse at the bartender, and this bartender we see in the reflection is a Vulcan. The camera moves up, and it's not a Vulcan. It's mutton chop dude, blonde hair guy with the jacket and the whole bit.
The wedding coordinator.
Right. He's not letting coordinate
Not yet. Not.
So what I love is, though, that so they established right out, because everyone was complaining, how can this character be here? Because Trelane's not supposed to be, and nobody's supposed to see him, and blah, blah, blah. He's clearly showing himself differently every time we see him.
Right.
So we see him as Vulcan this time, but the camera shows us who he really is, just for the sake of us knowing. But then, and later on, when we see him again, because he gives Spock a spiked drink.
Something different, but better? Something you definitely want?
Yes, that would be fine.
I have just the thing.
And because he asked Spock basically, "What's your wish? What do you want?" And Spock's like, "Well, I regret things not being the way they were with Christine."
Don't drink it too fast; it'll go right to your head.
And so what's he gonna do? He's like, "Okay," and he wakes up in the next morning. He's apparently engaged to her and going to get married.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And the only person that doesn't remember or doesn't know this is Corby. Corby, for some reason, is not affected. Now, the argument is because they later on say it's because he loves her, and love is an emotion that overcomes all this nonsense or whatever else. Spock figures it out because he punches Corby and realizes everything clicks into place. He's like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. We're not getting married. So he's got to solve this problem that he doesn't necessarily want to solve.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
And nobody believes him, poor guy.
It's so terrible.
He's got to work with his ex-woman's current boyfriend.
Well, and to me, it's so funny. So there's so much good comedy in this. From La'an teaching Spock to
how to dance.
The best. So he won't embarrass himself.
Yes.
Yes. So good. No, it's really good.
To the maybe it's when Corby says, well, maybe it's because he's not affected by it because of something to do with his intellect.
Why leave you unaffected?
My rigorous intellect may have shielded my mind from the illusion.
If one of our intellects could bestow immunity, I'm confident it would not be yours.
And I was like, there he is. There's Spock that we know. There's the guy. Like, because that's the kind of guy who later on will bust Bones' balls about stuff and just, you know what I mean? And like, really, I was like, that's brilliant, because that's exactly the backhanded nonsense Spock would say. Like, that was the Spockiest line.
The Spockiest.
It was. No, it really was. Especially because Ethan Peck, God love him. What an amazing our funnel for the character of Spock. You know what I'm saying? He's done such a wonderful job channeling that. It's unbelievable. We get to meet Ortega's brother.
Hi, I'm
Haymaker.
Okay, who's this?
That's my little brother.
That was such a cute little side story there.
It was. And seeing Uhura with
did you? Okay, so
Uhura of the hair.
Jump back for a second to the first episode.
Sure.
Because you could tell the first episode, which was 3 months earlier,
Yeah.
they had to put this girl's hair, like, I've got curly hair, and her hair in the second episode is way curlier and just.
Her wig was not good.
It was not good.
Well, and I understand, because last season, because remember, it's been almost 2 years since they went into production 2 years after what we saw.
Right.
Because remember, we've had the strikes, they've had everything else.
All the strikes.
Right. And so finally she
was working
when they went to start the show. And you would think, well, why didn't they finish the scene and blah blah? That hadn't been written yet.
Right.
They didn't know what the sequel to the next part was going to be.
But her hair looks amazing.
It looks really
Sorry,
good.
that's
No,
all. I'm still a girl.
So the reason, but the reason I like her hair is because I feel like before the show's done, we're going to get her in the beehive. We're going to get her looking like Uhura of old. Because remember, everything is pointing toward that stuff, and I really dig that. I love the way they're doing that. This one, Pike plays more of a backseat because it's obviously Spock's story. I don't know how people are going to accept this whole storyline, but I appreciate what they're doing. So you get to get to everything. You get to the wedding. You get to the whole bit. Trelane, whatever he doesn't call. He never once says his name. I'm calling him Trelane.
Right.
So what they happen when Trelane realizes he's lost. Mm-hmm. And he turns on everybody. He's like, that's it. You're going to die. And you know what? A little bit of death for you. And you something, that hairstyle, everything else. Oh, you're definitely dying.
The crowd, look, we're trying to upstage the bride.
Yes, all of it. And it's great.
Prepare for a cavalcade of death. No one gets a wedding cake slice tonight. You're going to die. You'll be dead. And you with the crown. What were you thinking? Trying to outshine the bride?
You know what? And we forgot to mention, because I keep forgetting to mention it, at the beginning of the episode, so Scotty says, oh, it must have just been a little glitch. And they're like, it's all taken care of. And that's what they saw. They saw Trelane come in.
When he is going off, the whole 9 yards, mm-hmm. You see this energy cloud show up, which I immediately knew. By the way, this also confirms it's Trelane because that's exactly how he ends up getting resolved in the previous one, in the original one too. His someone superior above him. Mm-hmm. There's a voice.
Oh, you have made enough of a mess. Please, let's not make a scene.
They're not listening to me.
And you are not listening to me. Shall I show you once more what the consequence is for disobedience?
No.
It's the voice of John Delancey.
Yes, it is.
Okay, the voice of Q.
Yes, it is.
And now he never gets called Q. In fact, Trelane calls him Dad. And so there's an actual to me it confirms that Trelane is actually part of the Q continuum, which is a disembodied voice or whatever. And it's funny, Star Trek fans have really kind of theorized about this for a mm-hmm. long time. There was a book a long time ago. God, I wish I remember. I think I'm trying to find if I have written anything in my notes because I was looking for it so badly. There's a book that deals with Trelane and Q. And it actually takes place at 2 different points in time as a result. And that's been non-canon forever. Because unlike Star Wars, Star Trek books are not canon.
What's interesting is that they're making it canon now.
Yeah, I know.
Sorta, you know.
Anyway, I just love the fact that Papa Q sends Trelane to his room.
Papa Q.
You know what I'm saying? It's so good. No, it's so good. And Trelane the whole time is doing stuff with a snap of his finger, which is very Q-like.
I said that's very Q-like. I even know that.
Yeah. And then, of course, Captain Pike has to real quick kind of save the day and ultimately
this is a celebration of the Federation.
And the bar is open.
The bar is
open. and you get to see them all chill. I do love the fact that obviously I don't know how Christine stays on the ship. I figure she just goes with Dude. But maybe I assume she's going to be here for the rest of the season.
Probably.
Chapel, and just kind of figure out how to put her transfer in or something and they go. I don't know. But at the very end of the thing, what's your favorite? Yes. Ortega suddenly leaves abruptly.
Right. Everyone's dancing.
Yeah.
And having a good time.
She's very much being impacted by all this. And goes into the gym room, whatever, and she's punching the bag, and she stands in front of a mirror, and you see this Gorn soldier sort of like in the background.
Right.
The idea being it's in her head, and she's as soon as you turn the TV off, you're like, that girl's got some PTSD going on.
Absolutely.
Like, oh my God.
But did you notice? And I meant to point this out to you. Pike is watching her leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pike watched her leave. So he's already like, oh, he's the captain. He's got to kind of know what's going on with his crew. But so he's very much aware of her leaving and having something. He knows something's going on with her.
No, I agree with that. it's a sobering reminder the season itself is going to ultimately they're still going to be dealing and grappling with the effects of the Gorn.
Absolutely.
I don't know if they're going to be the big bad for the season again, because now that'll be like 2 seasons where they've ultimately been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there's definitely a world in which they play a bigger role. But again, it all comes down to how do you stay within the canon. Now, both Salty Trekker and I have said, and him more than me, but I agree. They need to just say that this is an alternate timeline and move on with life. You don't have to address anything. You don't have to address continuity. It just is what it is and go on. That's why nobody busted the balls of the 2009 J.J. Abrams Star Trek, because it was like, alternate timeline, cool, whatever, move on, we're good. Because you're like, okay, I have nothing to argue about now. And you go on and you go forward. Especially if what they're saying is true. Akiva Goldsman has talked about it. I know the showrunner mentioned it in an interview recently that they were when the show ends, Pike is definitely going to hand the ship over to Kirk, and I feel like that's where you continue and you say, hey, we're taking a break, blah blah blah, and then you announce a new Star Trek show.
Yeah.
Now chances are what they're going to do is Starfleet Academy will come out.
Mm-hmm.
Then they'll probably say, okay, midway, maybe after Starfleet Academy season 2. Or going into season 2, they'll be like, hey, by the way, there's a new show coming out or whatever, a new Star Trek show, and it continues where Strange New Worlds left off.
When does Starfleet Academy come
out? That is a great question that I was not prepared to answer.
Oh.
You're fine. No, I know it's soon. I know it's in production.
I know it. I was going to say, I know we've talked about it, and I know it's either in production or in post-production. We just don't know when it's coming out.
Yeah.
But we probably don't know what's coming out, so.
No, I appreciate that.
The second episode was a great palate cleanser of what we saw in the first episode. This is just, it doesn't matter what streaming service you use. Not a big fan of a 2-episode drop.
No, totally. Well, especially when you got up at 3 in the morning.
The 3 in the morning,
Oh, I hate all of it.
And we still look this good.
Right? Come on now. But yeah, I'm ready for this season. I really am. I'm hoping they drop a this season on Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, I kind of was expecting that.
It wasn't out at the time that we watched it, and at the time we watched it, or that I'm recording this.
Yeah.
So hopefully they will do that the next day or so, and if they do, we'll probably react to it or something.
Yeah.
But
that would be great. Just a quick little one.
Yeah, man. Reaction. I'm excited. I'm super excited for this. I think it was really good. Okay, so what do you give just this episode now?
Oh no, I'm not going first.
Okay, fine. All right. I'm going to give on the Know It All Index, this episode for me, this one gets a 9.0 out of 10. All right? It does. Why?
No, I love how high you have Strange New Worlds. I really do, and I love it, and I love Strange New Worlds.
The reason I like this and give this episode what it is because this felt like that it was cut right from the template of the original series. Okay, the original series used to give us all kinds of nonsense like this. You want former Greek gods that were actually just beings, alien beings? Yes. You want to see the Trelane, who's essentially a Q? Yes. You got all these. You want to see Harry Mudd and androids? Sure. Like they just come up with stuff all the time that was off the wall, and this was really the epitome of that idea.
That's
and they did a
awesome.
good job. They did a really good job. This was very Star Trek-y, and I'm down for it.
I gave it a 9 as well. Because it was fun, and they did, and maybe it's just the way they decided to release the episodes. But this was definitely something that we needed after the last episode. So
I agree.
It was nice. It was really fun. It was fun to see Spock the way he was. I don't know. I kind of like what was kind of going on with Ortega's his brother and O'Hara. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see what happens.
I want to see what happens there.
He seems like a really nice guy.
We were also, in the first episode, the second episode, I'm so sorry. The second episode, we were introduced to a new member of medical.
Yeah, a new ensign. They only call him ensign.
They only call him ensign, and I think that's really cool because he was like, wait a minute, I get to stay here? Yes, you get to stay.
He looks like a cool kid.
He's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be that's going to be a lot of fun.
Any last thoughts about the series or anything you're hopeful for?
Well, actually.
Go ahead.
When you were saying, old Trek versus new Trek, I'm new Trek. So, and I'm really enjoying this. And I know I'm lucky because I do have Mr. Know-It-All to say, like, hey, this is because of this is because of that. I'm lucky to have that, but you don't need that to watch this.
Very true. So. No, I agree with that. All right, guys. I cannot wait. We'll talk to you again next week. Never forget.
Everyone loves a know-it-all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.